Don't you just hate when content creators try out a game for a few hours, give their first impressions, and then drop the game immediately after? Yeah, me too. I would never do that to you guys. Alright, I'll be honest, I have done that in the past, and there's a good chance it will happen again at some point in the future. The truth is, some games just aren't worth playing or quote unquote investing in for long periods of time. Well, I am pleased to tell you that this is not the case with Lord of the Rings Online. At least not for me. If you haven't watched my first video covering this game, I would highly recommend pausing this video and giving it a quick look. But for those who did, or for those who simply don't care or don't want to be told what to do, you may have noticed that I merely scratched the surface of this MMO, only covering the game's intro and first 5 levels or so, along with some things that truly make Lord of the Rings Online special. Well, that's not even half of the story. In fact, the entirety of gameplay from that first video was all captured within the first 2 hours of me playing. When I tell you that I've absolutely loved my time in this game, I am not making it up. I've continued to play Lord of the Rings Online for another 25 hours or so, and I have taken it upon myself to put some videos together of my time in Middle-earth for your entertainment. So strap in, grab a cup of coffee, and let's hop back into Middle-earth. This is, I don't really have a name for it, but my continued journey through Lord of the Rings Online in 2024. Right, so we left off with murdering Gorm Dowrsmith, the evil steward of Thorn's Hall. Skorgrim was resurrected and recruited to aid the powerful forces of darkness, and we escaped his tomb before it caved in and crushed every bone in our bodies. We're teleported to the elven city of Kellendam, where we meet Aelion, who says, "I must intrude with an important matter." I respond by telling her, "I'm sorry, but my heart already belongs to someone else." She rolls her eyes and says, "No, I just wanted to tell you that Cardaver needs your help." Oh, right. We learn about the milestone skill, essentially a free quick travel that you can manually bind to different locations throughout Middle-earth, and oh gosh, it's an hour-long cooldown. Seriously? An hour? Why? What's the purpose of making players wait a full hour to quick travel back to a single location? For many of us, that's basically a single quick travel during our entire play session. Anyways, we're also bombarded with hint boxes about deeds, reputations, hobbies, which I still don't really know what any of those are, and then the map? Hold on, are you telling me they've waited until level 7 to prompt new players about the map? We get a quick look at this gorgeous elven city and then meet up with Cardaver, who wants us to help him find his missing son. In order to do that, we must speak with a dwarf named Aethel at a nearby elven camp. We toured the city a bit more and eventually found him out in a nearby glade. He tells us that the son is late, but not to worry because he's probably fine. Yeah, no, he's not fine. He's dead. We pick up the son's satchel and return it to Athel, who then sends us back to his father with the unfortunate news. Cardaver is enraged, and even though there was absolutely no evidence whatsoever for his claims, he goes all Anakin Skywalker on us, saying, "Go forth and slay the goblins wherever you find them." Alright, yeah, I know you're upset about your son, but I'm not sure if mass genocide is the answer here. Despite my reservations, we honor his request and slay as many goblins as we possibly can. But not before stopping at this bridge to take a glance at the beautiful elven countryside. Wait, where was I? Oh, that's right, the annihilation of the entire goblin race. We take down one of their leaders and return to Cardaver to tell him of all the goblin blood that has been spilt to avenge the death of his son. And oh look, the son is still alive. I think I'd feel a little bit better about this news if I hadn't just slaughtered an entire village of goblins without reasonable cause. Alright then, where is he? How do I find him? It turns out it wasn't the goblins at all, but actually it was the dwarves this entire time. Well, let me guess, you want me to kill them all as well? We find Dorangar Whitethorn at an adjacent village, and to my surprise, he basically says,
"Now don't be hasty, Master Meriadoc."
He wants to make sure this isn't some trick by the goblins to frame the dwarves, so we set out for the next village, and oh wow, that's pretty far. Which is something you'll find yourself saying a lot in Lord of the Rings Online. While some people may find this annoying or tedious, there's actually something about this method of traveling across the world that enhances the player's sense of immersion. It truly feels like your character is setting out on an epic journey across the entirety of Middle-earth, and the further you go, the more rewarding it gets. Killed some bears, ran into a hobbit riding a pig, made light work of this dwarf that looked at me the wrong way, and arrived at the dwarven fortress of Gondomon. This place is awesome. The architecture reflects the stonewall craftsmanship you'd expect from the dwarves. It feels solid and sturdy, built to last. We introduce ourselves to the elven emissary Gilthin, who is quite disturbed by the possibility that dwarves could be behind the kidnapping of Averthal. She says she will look into things here, but we must go meet up with Aglarkin, another elf that has gone ahead in search of the sun. This is also where I first realized that I was a bit underleveled, so I picked up a few side quests to try and keep up. One of the nice things with Lord of the Rings Online is that many of these side quests overlap with the main story epic quests, something that I wish I had taken more advantage of during my time playing. Reached level 9, finished 2 of the side quests, and then found Aglarkin, invisible and hiding in a bush. Like, actually hiding. At one point, he was right in front of me, but I just walked right by because I couldn't see him. If I was an elf behind enemy lines, this is exactly what I would be doing. Another point for player immersion in Lord of the Rings Online. After telling me that Aberfall has been captured by goblins, so it was the goblins, we find ourselves in a bit of a pickle, surrounded by dwarves, fighting for our lives, and then he just leaves me to die in the middle of the fight. Look at that. He just runs away. Look at my health bar. I could have died. I put the team on my back, returned to the fortress, turned in a couple of side quests, and oh look, our gear can be damaged now that we've reached level 10. The devs are starting to take away the training wheels for new players. Another little boost for your ego the further you get into the game. Now I get to spend my hard-earned coins and repair my gear like a true MMO player. Take that, Middle-earth. After returning to Gilthin with the news about the captured sun, wait, I'm confused. I thought it was the goblins that took him. What's going on? I guess the goblins and dwarves are working together? Gilthin tells me it's time to confront Matthew Stouthand, the Lord of Gondomon. If he will not release Averthal, this means war. Guys, can't we all just get along? Matthew denies the accusations and says, whoa, you got us confused with the Dourhands, the descendants of Skorgrim. We are Longbeards who come from the line of Durin. We're the good guys. Now, I'm no politician, but you'd think the elven emissary would know that type of thing. Instead, she sent me over here making accusations and looking like a donkey in front of the Lord of Gondomon. How embarrassing. Now, Matthew wants to help, but he makes a good point. If the good dwarves attempt to rescue the elf from the bad dwarves, but the mission fails, then the elves might assume that the good dwarves were actually in league with the bad dwarves, meaning that the good dwarves weren't good dwarves at all, but actually they were the bad dwarves the entire time. So he suggests we find someone that both the dwarves and the elves can trust. Now, what race could that be? That's right, a man, because the race of men have never done anything to betray the trust of other races in Middle-earth. But not just any man, a ranger. And okay, I kind of want to be this guy. He actually looks really cool. Standing with his hood and his arms crossed. Whoa guys, relax. There's plenty of dwarven women to go around. We introduce ourselves to Lenglis and he agrees to help with our predicament in order to prevent a war breaking out between the elves and dwarves. How noble of him. We tell him we're ready and are brought into an instance area right outside the Dourhan dwarf camp. We kill the first group of dwarves and Lenglis tells us we need to rest for a moment. Wait, what? Aren't rangers able to run for hours on end without getting tired? Come on, man. What would Aragorn say if he saw you right now? We kill a few more dwarves and again, I think it might be time you set up an appointment with a cardiologist. We run into one of the Dourhan leaders who informs us that Averthal was taken elsewhere. He then yells, "He will die. You will die. All our foes will die." So we kill him. We return to the Ranger's Lodge and are tasked with finding Svanr, one of the good dwarves who will help us save Averthal before the bad dwarves can set sail with him from the port city of Caladul. And oh look, we get to rescue a cute little lynx cub. We find Svanr. He tells us he's had enough of the Dourhans making a mess of his harbor and he'll gladly help us on our quest. He gives us some key information on where to find Averthal, but also that we must hurry since the ship would be casting off soon. He tells me we can sneak into Caladul unnoticed by waiting until nightfall. Oh yeah, I can just walk by the sleeping. Oh, well that didn't last very long. That's alright, as Cardaver would say, why sneak by them when you can just kill them all? Reach level 11, take down some more dwarves, and we find Averthal on the ship right where Svanr said he'd be. We perform a little victory cheer, give him a friendly wave. Alright, the bow might be a little over the top. Averthal is thankful to see us, but warns us that the captain will be returning soon. We have to get out of here. Sure enough, the captain emerges from his private quarters. As we slap him around a bit, he starts taking jabs at his crew, calling them worthless thinbeards and good-for-nothing sea dogs. They must have been too scared to save their captain because no one showed up. Maybe if you had treated them a little better. With Averthal rescued, we have successfully prevented an all-out war between the elves and dwarves. He tells me that while this is good news, there's still the looming threat of Skorgrim and his goblin army on the horizon. That's going to conclude this portion of the story. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for future content. As I mentioned before, I have a lot more Lord of the Rings online content to go through. Hope you have a splendid rest of the day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.